Tears of Holi. The tradition of distorting names, who knows when and where it started. If someone could trace this worldwide affliction, they would surely leave their mark on history. Pandit Ji's name was actually Srivilas, but his friends called him Silbil. Names do have some effect on character, and poor Silbil truly embodied his nickname. He was heading to the office, but the waistband of his pajama was dangling down. He wore a felt cap on his head, but a long braid peeked out from behind. Though his kurta, a traditional coat, was quite elegant, he had no particular fondness for festivals. Diwali would pass by, but he wouldn't even touch a single coin. And Holi, well, Holi was his most difficult day. For 3 days, he wouldn't step outside. Even at home, he would sit dressed in black. His friends would wait for him to slip up somehow, but no one could force their way into his home. A couple of times he got caught, but he managed to wriggle out of it with pleading and excuses. But this time, the problem had become much more complicated. According to the scriptures, he had observed celibacy until the age of 25 before getting married. Whatever little remained of his celibacy was perfected during the 3 years of his wife's absence after marriage. Although he had no doubt about his wife, he was not one to let women get their way. In this matter, he preferred his old-fashioned methods. Once he sternly scolded his wife, and then there was no way she would dare touch any colors. The trouble was that her family was coming to celebrate Holi as well. As the saying goes, when the sister is inside, the brother is the conqueror. He couldn't think of any way to fend off these conquerors. His friends couldn't enter his home, but who could stop the conquerors? His wife, with wide eyes, asked,
Oh my, are you really not going to bring any colors into the house? What kind of Holi is this, dear?
Silbil frowned and said,
That's it, I've said it once. And I don't like repeating myself. No colors will come into the house, and no one will touch any. The sight of red stains on my clothes makes me sick. This is how Holi is celebrated in our house.
His wife, bowing her head, said,
Then don't bring any colors. What would I do with them? If you're not going to touch them, how can I?
Silbil, pleased, said,
Indeed, this is the duty of a virtuous wife. But your brothers are coming. Why would they listen? I've thought of a plan for them too. It's your job to make it work. I'll pretend to be sick. I'll lie down under a blanket. You'll say I have a fever. That's it. We're free.
His wife rolled her eyes and said,
Oh dear, what nonsense you're talking. Let the fever go to the plaintiff's house. If it comes here, I'll scare its face off.
So what's the other solution then?
You hide in the small room upstairs, and I'll say you've taken a laxative. If you step outside, you'll catch a cold.
Pandit Ji brightened up.
Yes, that's the best idea.
It's the day of Holi. There's chaos outside. In the old days, only Abir and Gulal were used, but now blue, green, and black have been added to the mix, and it's impossible for a person to avoid this combination. Perhaps only the gods can escape it. Silbil's 2 brother-in-laws were being targeted by all the men, women, children, and elders in the neighborhood. The drawing room's floor, walls, even the pictures were covered in colors. The same was true inside the house. The women of the neighborhood wouldn't take no for an answer. Even the water drain had turned colorful. The elder brother-in-law asked,
Why, Champa, is he really not feeling well? Didn't he even come for lunch?
Champa bowed her head and said,
Yes, Bhaiya, he started having stomach pains last night. The doctor advised him not to go outside.
A little later, the younger brother-in-law asked,
Why, Didi, won't Jijaji come downstairs? What kind of illness is this? Should I go upstairs and check on him?
Champa grabbed his hand and said,
No, don't go upstairs. He won't play with colors. The doctor advised him not to go outside.
Both brothers could only wring their hands in frustration. Suddenly, the younger brother had an idea. Why not play Holi with brother-in-law's clothes? He isn't sick. The elder brother liked the idea. Poor sister, what could she do? The conquerors took the keys from her and pulled out all of Silbil's clothes and colored them. They didn't even spare his handkerchief. When Champa hung the clothes on the clothesline in the courtyard to dry, it looked as though a dyer had just dyed wedding outfits. Silbil sat upstairs, watching the scene unfold but said nothing. His heart was writhing in agony. All his clothes were ruined, and there wasn't even anything left to wear to the office. What did these wicked people have against his clothes? Various delicious dishes were being prepared in the house. Champa, along with a Brahmin woman from the neighborhood, was busy in the kitchen. The two brothers and several other gentlemen sat down to eat in the courtyard. The elder brother-in-law asked Champa,
Habaya, may you bury some khichdi for him too, Raya? The poor fellow won't be able to sit puris today.
Champa replied,
I haven't made it yet, but I'll prepare it now.
How sudden wisdom you have, Vigiya. Ye apme never thought about what that he'll eat. You were never this careless before. Go quickly get some rice and mung dal.
So, khichdi was being prepared. Meanwhile, the friends started eating. Silbil sat upstairs, lamenting his fate. He saw only one cause for all his misfortunes: marriage. If Champa hadn't come, these brothers-in-law wouldn't have come, his clothes wouldn't have been ruined, and he wouldn't have had to eat moong dal khichdi on Holi. But what good is regret now? By the time the guests had finished eating, the khichdi was ready. The elder brother-in-law personally sent Champa upstairs with a plate of khichdi. Silbil glared at the plate and said,
Take it away from me.
Are you going to fast today?
If that's what you wish, then so be it.
What have I done? I've been busy since morning. Bhaiya himself ordered me to bring khichdi here.
Yes, I can see that I'm not the master of this house. The conquerors have taken over. But I can't accept that if you had wanted to, this plate couldn't have reached me before the others. I consider this against the duty of a virtuous wife. What else can I say?
You saw that both of them were on my case all the time.
It's a heartless joke that others get to eat samosas and kachores while I get moong dal khichdi. What wrong?
Take a few bites of this, and as soon as I get a chance, I'll bring another plate.
They ruined all my clothes. How will I go to the office? I don't find this joke amusing at all. I call it mischief. Why did you give them the keys to the chest? Can I ask you that much?
They snatched them away by force. Didn't you hear? What could I do?
Well, what's done is done. Take this plate away. If you consider it your duty, bring another plate, otherwise, fasting it is. Just then, Silbil heard footsteps and looked up to see both his brothers-in-law coming. Seeing them, poor Silbil made a face, covered himself with the blanket, and started groaning. The elder brother-in-law asked,
How are you feeling? Please have some khichdi.
Silbil, making a face, replied,
I don't feel like eating right now.
No, fasting would be harmful. Please eat some khichdi.
Poor Silbil cursed these two devils in his heart and swallowed the khichdi like poison. It seemed that khichdi was destined for him on Holi. Until all the khichdi was finished, the two brothers remained there, like prison officers feeding a fasting prisoner. Poor Silbil had to force down the khichdi, leaving no room for any delicacies. At 10 o'clock at night, Champa arrived with a plate full of delicious food for her husband. The master of the house was inwardly fuming. Who cares about me in front of the brothers? I don't know where these two devils appeared from. They made me fast all day, and there was no sign of food until now. But seeing Champa bring the plate, a bit of his anger subsided. He said,
Now it's quite late. Why didn't you come a couple of hours earlier?
Champa placed the plate before him and said,
You neither accept defeat nor victory. After all, these two guests are here. If I don't take care of them, how will things work out? You would be upset if I didn't. It's not like they come every day.
God forbid they come every day. One day has been enough to make me regret it.
Seeing the fragrant, juicy dishes on the plate, a smile of satisfaction spread across Pandit Ji's face. He ate each dish and praised Champa.
I'm telling the truth, Shampa. I've never eaten such things before. What can a sweet maker prepare? I feel like giving you a reward.
You're flattering me. I just made whatever I could.
No, I'm telling the truth. Even my soul is satisfied. Today I realize that food has more to do with the soul than the stomach. Tell me, what reward should I give you?
Will you give me whatever I ask?
I swear by my sacred thread I will.
If you don't give it, then my request is lost.
I'm telling you, how else can I say it? Should I put it in writing?
All right, then I ask this. Let me play holy with you.
Pandit Ji's face turned pale. He widened his eyes and said,
Play holy? But I don't play holy. I've never played. If I wanted to play, why would I hide in the house?
Don't play with others, but you must play with me.
This goes against my principles. How can I consider something appropriate inside the house and inappropriate outside? Think about it.
Champa, lowering her head, said,
There are so many things you consider appropriate inside the house, but outside, they aren't just inappropriate, they're sinful.
Pandit Ji, embarrassed, said, all right, you win, I lose. Now I ask you for this gift.
First, give me my reward, then you can ask for a gift from me.
Champa said, lifting the vessel of color and dousing Pandit Ji from head to toe. Before he could get up and run, she grabbed a handful of gulal and smeared it all over his face.
If there's anything left, finish it off too. I knew you would become a snake in my sleeve. Is there any more color left?
Champa looked at her husband's face and saw a deep sadness on it. She regretted it and asked,
Are you really upset? I thought you were just teasing me. Srivilas, in a trembling voice, said,
No, Shamba, I'm not upset. Yes, you reminded me of a duty I had forgotten because of my cowardice. That picture you see in front of you is of my dear friend Manhanath, who is no longer in this world. How can I tell you what a gentle, sensitive and brave man he was? He used to burn with anger at the sight of the country's condition. 25 is no age, but at that age, he had already decided his life's path. He would seize any opportunity to serve, as if it were a treasure. He was a born ascetic. Desire never touched him. While the rest of us were busy with leisure, his path was different. He was ready to give his life for the truth. Life. If he saw injustice anywhere, his eyebrows would arch. If he read about atrocities in the newspapers, his face would flush with anger. I've never seen anyone like him. God called him away too soon, or he would have been a gem among men. He would carry his life on his palm, ready to rescue anyone in trouble. The respect and honor he had for women, no one could match it. For him, women were objects of worship and devotion. It was 5 years ago, on this very day of Holi. I was drunk with bhang, drenched in color from head to toe. When I went to call him to listen to some music, only to find him dressed and ready to go somewhere. I asked, "Where are you going?" He took my hand and said, "You've come at the right time, or I would have had to go alone. An orphaned old woman has died, and no one is there to carry her to the cremation ground. Some are visiting friends, others are drunk, some are hosting feasts, and others are enjoying themselves. No one is there to lift the body. How can the Brahmins and Kshatriyas touch the body of a low-caste woman? Their dharma would be defiled. No one is willing. I've managed to find two bearers with great difficulty. I'm one, and we need a fourth person. God has sent you. Let's go." If I had known that this was a command from my dear Manhar, I wouldn't feel so much guilt today. Several friends were at my house. There was singing going on. Carrying a body to the river at that time seemed unpleasant to me. I said, "Not right now, brother. I can't go. There are guests at home. I came to invite you."
Manohar looked at me with eyes full of scorn and said, "All right, you go ahead, I'll find another companion." But I didn't expect this from you. You've said the same thing others have said before you. There's nothing new in it. If we hadn't forgotten our duty, would the situation be like this today? I curse such a holy. A festival isn't about watching shows, eating delicious food, and wearing fine clothes. It's a vow, a penance. The real meaning of the festival is to love and have sympathy for your brothers. Before you turn your clothes red, make sure your blood is red. This redness doesn't suit white blood. Saying this, he left. At that moment, his scolding hurt me deeply. If I didn't have the spirit of service in me, what right did he have to reproach me like that? I went back home, but his words kept ringing in my ears. The joy of Holi was ruined. We didn't meet for a month. The college was closed for exam preparation, so we didn't meet there either. I had no idea when and how he fell ill, when he went home. Suddenly one day, I received a letter from him. Oh, even today, my heart breaks when I remember reading that letter. Srivilas couldn't speak for a moment, his throat choked with emotion. Then he continued.
I'll show it to you someday. It said, "Come see me for the last time. We may not meet again in this life." The letter slipped from my hands and fell. His home was in Meerut district. The next train was leaving in half an hour. I immediately set off, but I couldn't see him. Before I arrived, he had passed away. Champa, since then I haven't played Holi nor have I celebrated any other festival. Perhaps God hasn't given me the strength to act. Now I desperately wish that someone would ask me to do a service. I can't take the initiative, but I'm ready to follow. But there's no one to ask me. But today by applying this color, you've reminded me of that scolding. May God give me the strength to become like Manohar, not just in thought, but in action too.
Saying this, Srivilas took some gulal from the tray, sprinkled it on the picture, and bowed in reverence.